What is going on, tuners? Welcome back to the #1 live tuning show on the entire face of the world. This light's really bright. Let me turn this down here. See. Ugh. Okay, we're here. Do we still enjoy beers on Thursday? We are this Thursday. Let me tell you that much. What is going on, everybody? We've got a decent crowd in here already. I see Ryan, Jerry, Andy, Cole, Marin Repairing. What's going on? Blake. So, we are back. It has been a long time. It feels like it's been months. My computer is doing all kinds of stuff, stupid stuff. All of my windows are wrong. Hopefully this all works out. Cole is dealing with false knock. If you're hearing the noise, that's probably what it is. So, what's new? What's new with everybody? I've got a motor torn apart in my garage. The smoke monster is hurt. It's not dead, it's hurt. Hopefully all the parts that we need will be in this weekend. But I'm glad we threw the towel in beforehand. Jerry got his trans cooler relocated, getting those IATs down. What up, Danny? Overhauling waste gates. Nice. Blake moved to Canada. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? 1 week till Miles Mayhem blew the trans last week. Just got back in the truck. Fingers crossed it hangs together. Sorry to hear that, brother. 60-pound injectors on my cruise. Only having cold run issues. Very interesting. The key is on, but the engine is off. Will knock sensors trigger. Yeah, they should, Cole. You can go in there and beat on stuff and see if it registers noise. I would say just fired up my 5.3 Cherokee. Let's start off with how Holley's IAC sucks. Well, I can't speak to Holley's IAC itself. I can say that Holley sucks. Ordered a deep pan transmission pan with a deep pan filter and a 250 amp alternator. I got my 250 amp alternator in the mail yesterday. Cat-Eye 8.1. What is that in? Which big block is that? What generation is that? Today I'm firing up my 17 Mustang with built engine. Twin 67s. Built trans. Sweet! Wilson. You actually in Alaska, Wilson? What up, 1DIY? Dude, Ozman, I don't know if you've seen it yet, but I got the Holley inductive transducer that goes on your power line to see the amperage, and you can log it. I'm going to be doing a video on it really quick. Whenever we get the Smoke Monster run again, where you can log amp loads on there and stuff like that. I'll be interested to see the amp load required on the Smoke Monster, see how far off we were with our measly little 100 amp alternator. Yeah, Kansas is hot. So is Colorado. Yeah, I used to race at Alaska Raceway Park. Used to race Subarus up there. That's one of the best drag strips in the world. Like, what's the DA up there? Like, negative 300? Like, that track is like at sea level or below sea level because it's down in the valley. It's such a good track to set records. What kind of IAT should I be seeing? Because I'm running a 180-degree thermostat so the fans don't come on. So where to make them come on at a lower temp? Yeah, if you go underneath the fans tab on most platforms. Kansas has a lot of hills. Yeah, you can kick them on, but if you don't need them, you know, 180 degrees, that's where the motor likes to be. Andrew, I think the one will measure -50 to 350, excuse me, that I bought. So it will measure both directions, theoretically, but -50 is not really, you know. But, you know, that's a good question. On my setup, since I have two circuits, I've got a charging circuit and then a power circuit. We'll just be measuring the power circuit. What year? My Subaru was 99 RST that I turboed whenever I was in Alaska. Oh, it was crazy hot out there. Can you explain O2 switching voltage tuning? Yeah, basically what you're looking for is an average of switching voltage after you've made changes. And it really doesn't come into play until you do something like headers. Long tube headers likes to move them around a little bit, and that will change the switching voltage on there. So get the thing in open loop where it's idling perfect. You know, you're hitting 1.0 at idle. Log your switching voltage and see what it is. 450 is generally the default switching voltage. We often see on long tube headers it goes up to around 600, maybe even 650. Yeah, exactly. Alaska Raceway Park DA floats around 0 to 1,000 on most days. Blake, it will not run on Mac. It needs to be Windows and it needs to be an Intel PC. Got my 1050 injectors installed in Tune. That runs great. Thanks for all your help, Kyle. Thank you, Tyler, for watching. 8104 through 7 with Allison. Buddy asked me about a little tune. What's he wanting to do? I mean, it's all the same, man. Brandon, you need to go into your fan outputs and change the temperatures. My fans kick on for 1 split second whenever the unit powers on, and then it stops. You need to look to see what you have your fan on-off temperature set for. What'd I pay for my alternator? $400. Just getting tuned. I needed lots of help from whoever more than me, no more than me. Tried watching the Tuning 101 videos, didn't have a good result in my tune. Well, Ozman, mine was a SI12 frame. That's probably why. Because I needed the smaller frame. Matthew, tuning's like eating an elephant. You got to take it one small bite at a time. In a single turbo setup like mine, the passenger side O2 sensor is clean, but the driver's side is reading both sides combined. Should we worry about this? I got to think about that, Jerry. What up, budget? Les, that sounds about right for Alaska. Andy says, more boost, less timing, or less boost, more timing, which is safer? Probably less boost, more timing. You know, both of them are attributing to cylinder pressure, but I think boost is probably more detrimental to higher cylinder pressures and higher cylinder temps than timing. Blake, that's our buddy. He always throws out that dislike. We're not worried about it. If I bump numbers up on the primary VE table, will that add fuel? Correct. Whenever you're bumping numbers up on your primary VE table, you're saying that you are breathing more air into the motor, and so it's going to add more fuel for that air. Did you consider going 16 volts? If so, why didn't you? No, I did not, just because I have so many 12-volt systems already on the car. You know, the car is technically a street car. You know, so things like my radio and stereo and stuff like that, I want that to work without any issues. If it were a full-blown race car, yeah, I'd go 16 volts, be done with it. Yeah, exactly. If that dislike's not there, the whole live show goes crazy. Is there a way you can email me or text me direct? Yep, check out the Patreon on the website, goatropegarage.com. That is the way you get a hold of me. I will answer all of your tuning questions. And I'm getting better at responding. ICT Car Guy is here to set the record straight in order of flatness. Florida, Illinois, North Dakota, Louisiana, Minnesota, Delaware, and Kansas. Oh, look at that. We've got a raffle going for some free HP Tuner shirts. Anybody's won some previously? I haven't gotten them out yet. You know me. I'm slow. A dry ice window AC. I didn't even know those existed. I'll have to look at them. Interesting, fun. Well, I just spent $400 on a 12-volt system, so I guess we're going to stick with 12-volt. Yes, Jim, email me on your shirt. Everybody else, I will get them out. That's on the list of things to do now that I'm back from Rocky Mountain Race Week. While everybody is spamming the chat with joining the raffle here, let's talk about what happened to the big block. So, I got some bad information. I'm not going to point any fingers to anybody in particular that told me the wrong lifters for the big block. But I put the wrong lifters in the big block. And I actually, you could deduce who told me this because I called somebody in particular who sent me the big block and asked about lifters. Said, hey, I've got this thing. I'm buying all the parts for it. I need you to tell me, do I need to run offsets? Do I need to raise bars? You know, all that stuff. Oh, no. You're fine. Just run standard big block lifters on there. You'll be fine. So I went out there, got my standard lifters, threw them in there, and lo and behold, this is the first time doing a big block. So some of this is, you know, I'll take the blame for. I should have caught this. It didn't help that we were kind of rushed on this whole ordeal. The tie bars on the lifters were hitting the lifter valleys. So we were having a weird issue where we were trying to lash these lifters out and they kept on getting loose. Well, it didn't help that the bottom side of the Brodix poly locks were deforming. Never seen that happen before. And these are the poly locks for the Brodix girdles. And so we just assumed that the additional lash that we were picking up there was from the deformation of the bottoms of the poly locks on the Brodix girdles. And so, you know, we made it through Great Bend. Car ran like crap. We were running 12.5s basically. Only got 2 runs in, but we knew that we were having voltage issues at that point in time because we could see it. It was dropping down to like 12.4 or 11.4 volts, which is just absurd. You know, on an EFI car like that, you can't be running voltage that low. You start having ignition problems and sometimes even fuel delivery problems, stuff like that. So we got it to Pueblo, and to the fact that we had to fire the generator up and plug a battery charger in and run it at 10 amps on the battery the whole way to Pueblo to keep the voltage high enough on the car to get it there. And so it was like, oh man, we should really, we bought alternators, tried alternators, didn't fit, found a CS144, of course it would not fit, all kinds of stuff. Oh yeah, we had to run hoodless because it was 97 degrees, and it's just, you know, we ended up having to take the hood off, stick the air filter up in the air, and then relocate the trans cooler to be able to run 205 degree engine coolant temps to get to Pueblo. So we get to Pueblo, and we relash everything. We swap the rear end over from a 3.0 to a 4.11. What up, Breezy? And then go out and make the first rip, and the thing runs 1/10 faster, which is just mind-blowing. But you could literally look at the RPM graph where it would shoot up off of the launch control, and then it just falls over, even in first gear. Like it was just losing power on the top end real bad. So needless to say, the second one, it took off decently. We ended up cutting like a 167, 60 foot, and it actually felt like it was going to make power. And that was the run that it broke some stuff on. So, you know, we ended up trying to do another run. It ran like a 13 something. It just had no power in it whatsoever. And Ozman, I'll talk to you about that here in a second. Get it back. We load everything up. It's after dark. We're trying to head back to the hotel, which is about 10 miles away. And we get 4 or 5 miles down the road. It throws another alternator belt, which is about right because the alternator and the battery charger isn't enough to run everything plus the headlights. So we ran out of power, but the car was just not running right. And I was telling my buddy Corey, I was like, you know, yeah, Joe, that'll fix it. I was telling my buddy Corey, I was like, man, something's wrong, something serious wrong. So we got up the next morning, messed around with it, changed some alternators. We made it about 10 miles outside of town. It was just not running good, and I said, man, we gotta call it. Something's severely hurt. The bad thing is we had new roller rockers and all kinds of stuff in Denver. Luckily, my dad was around, and he was halfway to Denver. I was like, go to the hotel and pick up all these $100 worth of parts that I had shipped up to the hotel. And so we sat in a ditch for 12 and a half hours waiting for my mom and stepdad to bring the trailer over to come pick us up. Had Taco Bell delivered, which was nice. And actually, at that point in time, that was the least amount of stress that I felt in probably the last 2 months because of all the crap that's been going on. So we get the car back. I pull it into the garage, start pulling the valve covers off, and on the driver's side, a spring retainer's missing, valve is stuck, all kinds of fun stuff. On the passenger side, there's a guide that's bent. So I pulled the intake manifold off and found 4 broken lifters because of the issues with the lifters. Then let's see. That was about it. So now I've got new lifters coming. I've got a new valve already. I've got new valve spring retainers, all that stuff to put back together. Luckily, the one valve that was bent, we did bend one valve on the number 3 cylinder, just kissed the piston, didn't do any damage. Didn't drop the valve, luckily, and really tear anything up. So the car will go back together without any issues. And we'll get it back on the road, and we'll go back into actually making power. So the crazy thing about it, because this issue with the lifter tie bar from the get-go just means we are never actually on the base circle of the cam. So we were losing lift and duration the entire time. So it should be a completely different car whenever we get it sorted out. Okay. Oh, Ozman. Awesome enough, though, you know, the announcer, nice guy, nothing against him. But Matt from 1320, as I said, those guys pulled over and helped us out whenever we had, literally my expansion tank on the radiator fell off, its mounting bracket, so we pulled over, and we'd been following Kyle and his Audi and his support vehicle, which is the guys, you know, Matt and the other guys in the truck. We pulled over, and so they stopped and got out and shot some video and talked to us, and I don't think they're going to use any of the video, but the cool part about was every time after that, Matt would see me coming into the staging lanes and would actually pull the camera out and start recording. I'm just very sad that we weren't able to produce anything fun for him to actually video. Yeah, you're exactly right. Small catastrophe, could have been worse. The motor is perfectly fine. You know, just need to replace a couple broken parts and get it fixed. And had a blast. It was the best, most fun that I've had ever doing racing events. Yeah, the pushrod length was right. It was just the link bar and the lifters hitting the valley. So needed the ones that are 300s tall or whatever. Yeah, we're definitely going to get it out and get some redemptions. There's no reasons why this car shouldn't be in the low 10s, if possibly the high 9s, whenever it's all said and done. Which really sucked, you know, because the competition that we were facing off in our class this year, if we would have had maybe even a week or two to get this car out on the road and actually drive it and find some of these problems beforehand, we could have competed. We would have won easily. Because I think that the guys that were in the top 3 were all running in the 10.4, 10.5 range at Great Bend. And, like, we're running 11s at Pueblo. So, long time ago, back when I was working on Subarus at the Keystone Raceway Park. Got to work on some really cool Subarus back in the day, back in the early 2000s. So that is the story. There will be a lot more to come as we dive into it. And then we're going to start doing some GT350 stuff. Hopefully have some interesting stuff to announce on that here soon. Do we need internet in order to change a tune? I'm thinking ahead when if HP2 gets hit by the EPA. Only on certain platforms, Budget Outlaws, and it's basically the random platforms like Audis and crap like that. Well, that is a good point, Fun. If we weren't hitting the base circle, the push rods were probably not the correct size, but we're going to have to get new push rods anyways, because we're running different rocker arms. You know, Joe, that's probably not a bad idea. Once I get the thing fixed up, I'm not going to drive it to Maryland, but I may tow it down there and we can do a dyno session video. I need an LT4 high pressure fuel pump. My pressure drops to 1300 psi. Or you could just do auxiliary fueling. Have I tuned any Subi since HP Tuners added them? No. No, I'm trying to. I was back when I still had my STI. I was using the open source stuff that was out at the time. Andrew, you're always welcome, brother. You know that. What up, TJ? Terminator X is 14.7 at idle, but smells super rich, burns my eyes. Any other than exhaust leaks to look for? Ben, you got any way to move that to the other bank? Check it out over there. I know Joe's in here. I'm just less and less impressed by Holly. I was looking at Mega Scorch today. Why is the Dodge Neon SRT4 so hard to tune? Joe, your guess is as good as mine. But I'm going to say it's probably because it's a Dodge. Not that I'm hating on Dodge by any means. Excuse me. Got all the burps in the house. Excuse me as I do the worst thing that you could do is check my phone while I'm on a live stream here. Sorry, that was my co-pilot texting me. When is the low octane table being used, or better, when does it shift to high octane table? Because I had some nuisance knock that seems to have finally gone away by taking away time from the low octane. Josh, the low octane table is used whenever knock is detected. There is actually parameters that you can adjust on the next tab over or the second next tab over. That's going to, hey Deb, glad you're watching. You've got to, basically what it does is as it registers knock, the intensity of the knock is going to determine how fast it switches over to the low octane table, and then you have to stay on the low octane table for a period of time before it will actually start shifting back to the high octane table. Drink of choice tonight, 18 watt by single cut. Kind of my go-to. Any base changes when adding headers? Guessing just need to wash fuel trims and wideband. Correct, Schmidthead. Got my 914 running with a rebuilt LS engine and sequel turbo. That sounds scary. I'm a pretty big fan of the Mega Squirt stuff. You know, I'm running my auxiliary fuel system on the Silverado with a micro squirt. Jerry, you're asking about the SD tables where you have a primary and then that low resolution SD table. It uses that low resolution SD table whenever the math has failed. Yes, the attack rate. Correct, Josh. So I have a HP MPVI2, and I'm wondering if the AEM-X series is easier wideband to use. Yeah, use Joe. Either if you've got a 2008 or later, you can use the OBD2 unit, which is very nice. If you don't, if you've got something or anything, you can use the 300300. I've got a video out there where you can use serial to USB. It's cheaper than the Pro features, and I like to do it that way because it's actually data coming from the gauge as opposed to an analog output, which you could have analog signal issues that could actually skew it off. Volvo with a Ford in it. There you go. Volvo, a B234F twin cam Volvo head on a Ford 2.3 liter. Oh, it looks like the raffle is done. Let's see who our winner's going to be. There you go. I've been wanting a car that would scare me up until now. It hasn't happened. This could be it. The last car, you know, the Silverado scares me. The last car before that scared me was my FDRX7. That car was so snap oversteer. Ted Trotz, congratulations. You're winner number 1. Pretty sure Ted's still in here. If he's not, I'll draw another name. But winner number 2 is going to be Blake W. Congratulations to Ted and Blake. You guys have won shirts. So shoot me an email or go over to the contact form at goatropegarage.com and let me know both your shirt size and what shirts you want. Remember, you can go to, let's see if this works. We pull this up. My resolution's all jacked up on this monitor over here. Something happened. Something happened. That's wrong. Yep, I'm hitting all kinds of buttons. Let me see if I can find the right one. Okay, hold on a second. I gotta fix this. Everything's messed up. Everything's messed up. Okay, let's just do it this way. If you go over to hptutors.com, go over to the merchandise tab, come down here, choose the shirt you want. I highly suggest one of these sweet vertical logo ones. Let me know which one you want and the size that you want. You might want to double check and make sure that they have it in stock. Some of them might be out of stock. I'm fond of the charcoal with the black logo. Don't forget, if you want to get your own free t-shirt, you can add one of these to the cart. And whenever you add over $50 worth of other stuff to the cart, you can use the code GoatRope GRG Garage and get a free t-shirt. Oh, I can't do that one here. Let's try this one. Let's go MPVI2. Come on. Let's see how long I could take trying to figure this crap out. Okay, here we go. So if we want to buy an MPVI2, we got to scroll all the way down to the bottom. Add this to the cart. Boop, boop, boop. Now we got to go all the way up to the cart. If we put in GR Garage and apply the coupon, boom! Takes out the price of the shirt and you get free shipping. So don't forget to use that. Okay, that's my spiel. Joe, you're hilarious. Well, as I said, I haven't used this computer in over 2 weeks now, and for some reason all of my windows are wrong. And it's just doing all kinds of stupid stuff. In fact, now I've got another window popped up over here that I can't make it go away. Swish banks getting same result in both banks. 14.7, super rich smelling. Ben, I would try another wideband. And if it were up to me, I would do away with that Holley proprietary wideband bullcrap. Put a new connector on there that allowed me to use standard 4.9 LSUs. That's all I'm saying, because you can get those things for like 25 bucks. No reason to pay 125 bucks for the same thing. So, did I mention I hate Holley lately? Listen, if you're Canadian and you win a free shirt on here, I will have the shirt shipped to me and I will send it to you. In fact, I'm pretty sure I owe Andrew one down under. Do you ever have any problems with the AEM wideband sensors? Joe, not really. I'll be honest with you. Most of the time, if I've killed a sensor, it's because I have killed the sensor or I have burned a harness or something like that. So, out of all the ones that I've used, they've been the most reliable, I would say, as far as the controller. See you, Les. Thanks for stopping by, brother. We're about to wrap up anyways. It's 8:29. You guys know the drill. I'm so tired. I'm still recovering from last week. Can you join 2 oxygen sensors into one after turbo? I'm trying to think exactly what you might mean. Is there an advantage to adding one to the second bank? The only real advantage on that budget is to make sure that both banks are working the same. I have, on the truck, I've got two, and that is just to make sure that there's not, basically it's a good way to check, see if you've got a misfire on bank one or bank two, even if you're not feeling it. If something's not firing properly, you'll see one bank be richer than the other one. Schmidt head, I'm running Excel ceramic wires on the big block right now. So this is the longest I've ever had spark plug wires survive those headers because of the 2 1/4 primaries. Joe says Ballinger's the best affordable wideband I've found. I can't speak to Ballinger. I've only messed with Ballingers on other people's vehicles, but they were using an analog output, and I do everything that I can do to keep from using analog output into the scanner. I believe wholeheartedly in using serial or the OBD2 output because it's too easy for data to get skewed on the analog. Generally, when I'm running rich, burning eyes is what I get. Blake, I don't care, man. Send me your info. Give me your address, all that fun stuff. I will send it to you anyways, man. I don't care. Shipping to Canada is not that bad. As far as I know, Holly doesn't own AEM now. If it does, maybe I'm going to have to start buying that AEM stuff. No, that's fine, Blake. You're perfectly fine, man. I do not care, as I said. Yeah, I bought the ceramic 90s and then bought the Excel LS coil boots and built them that way. Yeah, I'm fine without the PLX stuff. Kyle, I need to go back and see your email. I have a whole stack of shirts that need to go out sitting on my pinball machine right now. PLX you probably can. I want to say Innovate you can stack or daisy chain. Yeah, we still do the Patreons for the one-on-one tuning sessions, but they're usually sold out. Really? Holly bought AEM. Interesting. Now I'm gonna have to find a new wideband guy, I guess. I'm just kidding. I don't dislike Holly that much. I've got too much Holly crap to dislike Holly. It's the little things about Holly that really bugs me. Like, one of the things that I still don't understand is why you cannot read in air fuel ratios in lambda as opposed to AFR. It blows my mind. I've heard Canada's cheap right now. Just bought a 2010 Camaro SS. Can I tell just by the tune if it has been cammed? You might be able to. I would hope if it had been cammed, it had been tuned. At least you could extract the tune and see if it matches up to a stock one. But there's probably a good chance that even though they swapped cam it, they did not tune it. Lambda all day. Lambda for life. I used to say lambda, 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 but then I was afraid somebody was going to sue me. I found out after the fact. I created the lambda, lambda, lambda decal and then found out after the fact somebody had beaten me to it. My mortal enemy, Voldemort, already had one. Josh says PLX daisy chains all day long. Yeah, going way back. Yeah, the lambda, lambda, lambda stuff goes way back. Like first generation videos out of the garage. Hey man, it's all about Revenge of the Nerds. Well, that's the other problem. You can't make a conversion table, which there's no way to convert the math, which really makes me mad. Am I doing race week? Nope. Just because I wouldn't be ready for race week. I could probably still get a slot on race week if I bugged HP Tuners enough, since they are the title sponsor of race week. But two things. One, they wouldn't want me to bring the Nova because I don't do any HP Tuner stuff on it, so I would have to quickly get the truck ready to go and street legal. And two, I've got too much stuff going. What's Celsius? AFR is the 1990 way of tuning. So it's all about the lambda. Yes, you're correct, Jerry. That is who it is. That's Celsius. Celsius is like Tim Hortons, I think. Man, you guys are cracking me up tonight. The Oz man, the only reason you didn't get flagged for that is because you misspelled it. How do I change over to Lambda from AFR? Videos. Yeah, I got some videos out there, Alex, talking about tuning in Lambda versus AFR. Big thing is you got to have a gauge that reads in Lambda, and then you will be using commanded EQ ratio as opposed to commanded AFR. Found a forum post, a D1 SC Pro Charger in E92. His demand torque tables are like 800 to 1100 foot-pounds. I'm like 300 to 500. Am I that far out of the ballpark for 4 pounds? Less boost, but very similar throughout. No! Maybe. Yeah, you probably need to bump up your demand torque table. Your virtual torque tables, okay. So here's the thing. You've got your driver demand tables. That's going to be your pedal request for torque. Those need to be higher than where you're at, 300 to 500. Take those up 6, 7 maybe at the very peak. Your virtual torque tables, though, those are the torque calculations based off of airflow. Those need to be fairly accurate. And the thing about it is, even whenever you add boost, the way that those tables scale out, the stock portion of the tables are generally all right. Maybe the idle gets a little bit mixed up. But what you need to look at is where you're exceeding stock airflow values. So higher in the MAF curve or higher on the manifold air pressure curve. You need to go out there. Those tables get broken down in those higher ranges. And so if you're running 98 kPa wide open throttle naturally aspirated, now you're running 5 psi of boost, so you're running, 120, 125 kPa. You need to go down to that 125 range and make sure that the torque is not falling off there, because you're actually making more torque on virtual torque. But driver demand is going to be the request. Whenever you push the pedal, it's going to say, hey, the pedal wants this many foot-pounds of torque. Engine, try and do this. And that's what's going to advance your timing and open your throttle body up. Sponsor my Camaro. We can go to race week together. Jerry, I wish I could. I think next year, though, I'm going to sponsor an entire class at Rocky Mountain Race Week. So that's going to take up my money. Well, if your throttle's not obeying you, it is going to be your demand torque tables. So just go out there and bump them up. But don't get carried away, because and only bump up the lower portions of that table. Look at like 40 or 50% throttle or more, because if you raise up the areas below that, drivability becomes an issue. Driver demand is one of my specialties, Blake. Unfortunately, I've had so much experience, being that I've done so much random stuff on the Gen 5s. I know. I talked to Brent from PFI Speed a little bit last week. In fact, we pulled into a gas station and gassed up, and Cletus pulled up right beside us. He didn't want none. I'm just kidding, because my car wouldn't even start because the battery was dead. But Brent was, riding shotgun with him. He was his co-pilot. He jumped out, and so, I told him, I was like, hey man, I'm a tuner. follow you guys pretty, not super close, but I know what you're doing, and I did see where you guys got nailed by the EPA. And I was like, unfortunately, you know, if there was something I could do to help out, I would, but just know that you are not alone in this and that we've got your back. That's awesome, Blake. Oh, it was flat dead. And we couldn't even, we had the battery charger hooked up at that point in time. Well, we had thrown an alternator belt again. We didn't have the battery charger hooked up yet. Marin, I'll tell you about that here in a second since we're going late anyways. But luckily, one of chilling with Chet, whoever Uncle Chet is, I guess. I don't know. I'm not in the loop on that. One of his guys that follows him around and sticks a camera up his ass had the biggest boost box. It was the size of a suitcase, and he was able to get it started. Marin, what the pedal commander does is it basically intercepts your pedal voltage and it amplifies it. So whenever you got a pedal, you actually have two voltages that cross over like this. One's low, one's high, and as you go 50%, they're both about the same. Then as you go wide open throttle, they're on the opposite sides. And what it does is it changes that output and adds like 15% to it. So you're effectively just, if you mash the pedal wide open throttle, it does the exact same thing, you know, whether you have a pedal commander or not. So it's all placebo. It's a waste of money. You can do the same thing if you have HB tuners without having to have an additional module in there that is technically jacking with one of your safety voltages. Just be aware, there's a reason why there's two voltages on that. That's so you don't have runaway gas pedal syndrome like the Toyotas had there for a while. Yeah, the throttle will get crazy, especially if you're messing with the lower portion of it. As I said, only focus on the 50% to wide open throttle stuff. Below that, you don't want to mess with it. Specifically, there's negatives in there for a reason. If you don't have negatives in that table, the throttle won't close. I actually did a test and tune video on this a year and a half or 2 years ago, and I almost drove my truck into traffic because of it. Brent said that he was going to fight it the whole way. So he said that he is not going to, because basically what he said was that if he pays the fine, it's like an $18,000 fine. If he pays the fine, the EPA will severely restrict his ability to do things like tuning. And this is all because of him selling the Honda units. I don't know if anybody's watched the videos. In fact, I've only watched the first video. He was telling me all this at a gas station. It's like it's all because of the Hondas that I sold and that they were determined to be an emissions defeat device. And so, yeah, and the problem is he's got too much exposure, you know. Sucks. It's a bummer, man. He is literally the nicest guy ever, too. A lot of those guys are kind of D-bags, you know, kind of full of themselves and stuff like that. Brent, by no means is, yeah, he's the one that hit for 18,000. He is down to earth, super cool. Like, went out of his way. We were over messing with my car, and he came over and talked to me because I just said, hey, man, I hate to hear about the EPA stuff. He came over and struck up a conversation with me, and so, like I said, yeah, exactly. As you said, Joe, Brent is one of the nicest guys you will ever meet in this industry. Just so cool. And will make time for anybody, even if he doesn't have time, you know. Not to say that the other people are D-bags. They're just super popular. Like, it would get away. Yeah, you only sold like 30 of them. And that was over multiple years. Yeah, if he fights it, they can fine him up to $180,000. So, yeah, literally, I would not wish being Cletus McFarland on my worst enemy. The guy is sitting at a gas station. You would be surprised how many random people went in and bought him Mountain Dews. Just random people coming out handing him Mountain Dews. And I'm just like, this looks like the worst thing ever. So Vicios, how much for a tune? I don't even know how much I charge for my tunes anymore. $650, I think, but I'm booked up for a while. Oh, yeah. Yeah, as I said, be awful to deal with. Like, how many Mountain Dews can this guy get in a day? You asking 680 on your driver demand table? Because that's probably not a bad spot to be in. I did have a lot of super nice people come by and say hi that have been watching the channels, and if any of them are in here, I doubt any of them are. I want to thank you for taking the time and finding me out. You know, it's awesome. It's always awesome to meet people in person. Oh, Mark H, which his name is actually Mike. Good plan. So 50,000 subscribers. We're going to be there. In fact, probably in the next day or two. We're literally going to pass over 50,000 subscribers. I'm going to try and get the 50,000 subscriber celebration ready for the live show next week. I got to reach out to some of the sponsors, see if anybody wants to give away some free stuff. So we will be giving away some stuff. You know, obviously we got more HP Tuner shirts to give away. We'll give away some Goat Road Garage shirts, but I'd like to give away maybe a methanol injection kit. Let me ask you guys this. If I get HP Tuners to donate stuff, would you guys rather get an MPVI-2 or maybe a couple free credits? Since most of you guys probably already have MPVI-2s, I figured maybe if I could get some free credits to give away, maybe 2 sets of 2 credits, that could be cool. I'm always trying to give away meth kits. Nice thing about it is Nitrous Express Snow Performance is always down to give away meth kits. They like to see those things out there. That's what I thought. Yeah. And I think I could probably hook that up pretty easy. Give some free credits out. So, cool. Cool. So, I'll talk to my... I'm not worried about Mike. Yeah, I'll talk to my contact over at HP Tuners and see what I can get hooked up on that stuff. As I said, see if I can reach out to ICT Billet. Maybe we can give away some ICT Billet stuff. I'd like to, as I said, give away a little bit of everything. And then what they don't offer up, I'm going to offer up. We're going to give away some stuff. How about some injectors? I don't have an injector sponsor, Ozman. Sorry, brother. Who wants broken lifters out of the smoke monster? I'll send some broken lifters out. I've still got broken pistons from the Silverado also that I need to send out. How about a tune? Wow. One DIY brother's like coming in hot. How about a tune? Yeah. Maybe I could do a tune. Maybe I could give away a tune. Listen. I'm going to get some stuff together. I will let you guys know. Keep your eyes peeled on the Instagram. If you're on Instagram, Goat Road Garage is what it is. And then, of course, keep your eyes peeled on the community page for the YouTube. And maybe I'll even update the website because 50,000 is an amazing milestone. I want to thank all of you guys and gals that have been here at 5,000, 10,000, 25,000 and now 50,000. We've got so many familiar names in here, so many friends that we've made through this, so many people sharing information. Go check out the Goat Road Garage Facebook group. I'm not on there that much, but I jump on there every once in a while. People are asking questions and getting answers, and it is kind of the new way to go out there and poll some like minds and ask questions, and everybody's at least willing to try and get answers. So it's been really cool. Awesome factory speed. Love to hear it, brother. Joe, you don't have to do that, brother. I appreciate it. You're still building your stuff up. If you guys haven't gone over to Joe Simpson's YouTube channel, before we get off of here, let me find the link for Joe. Let's send some subscribers over there because it's one of my favorite things to do is send subscribers over to friends, and Joe has been great. I'll be honest with you. I've been bugging Joe so much lately, and the fact that he still answers my text messages. Woo! So, there's the link. That needs to be the last thing you click. You guys know the drill. ABT. Always be tuning. See if I can hit this end button.